Hello. I just want to say hello to the Fiveish fangirls. No, that's wrong. I want to say hello to the Fiveish fangirls. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
That's
Anyway,
correct.
hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. That's five hellos to the Fiveish fangirls. Bye.
The tangents is continue all the way to episode 438 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Does this look inanimate to you, punk? If I can move and I can talk, who's to say I can't do anything I want? Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like we work with the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin. Oops, sorry.
This is Chrissy from Salt Lake City.
Is it a full moon outside? What?
Yes,
Pretty
actually,
much.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll blame it on the unexpected solar eclipse.
Yes.
So eclipse of the sun,
Sun.
Yes.
which we actually did have an eclipse here.
Yes, we did.
Oh, it wasn't a total eclipse, but it was.
Yeah.
It was an
Yep.
eclipse.
It was an
Yes.
eclipse.
Yep. This is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Wishing I was somewhere that was green and warm. I finally had to turn on my heat. Oh.
Yes.
When the high is in the 40s, you just
Oof.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping. I mean, I know it's not going to be balmy, but I'm really hoping it's warm enough tomorrow for trick or treating. Just come on, man.
Mhm.
Come on, old man weather.
Yep.
But anyway, so yes, as we're recording this, it is the day before Halloween.
Yeah.
So we shall wish all of our listeners a happy and safe one, whatever you end up doing. And,
Yes.
And may you have more tricks or more treats and tricks.
Yes. But, so we have a fun one for you today, but we shall
Yes.
we'll
Get
get
to
to
that.
that after.
The
news.
news from
Mhm.
across the pond, finally. So
Yeah.
we finally have air dates, multiple, for those David Tennant 60th anniversary specials. So when Doctor Who drops on for those across the pond on BBC Player,
Mhm.
BBC iPlayer, something like that. And then the rest of the at least in the US, on Disney Plus, Doctor Who drops, among other things. We will get 3 Saturdays in a row of David Tennant. So
Mhm.
starting off on the 25th of November with The Star Beast. And then on the 2nd of December is Wild Blue Yonder. And then on the 9th of December is The Giggle.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. So
Yes.
still no word yet if and what we might get on actual Doctor Who Day.
Right.
So Nick and I were postulating about that yesterday.
Mhm.
Just the fact that November 23rd happens to be American Thanksgiving, and since the American market is a generous percentage of their
Viewing audience.
viewing audience,
Yeah.
whether we're actually going to get anything new on the 23rd
Right.
is still TBD. So
Because
Yeah,
what
Yeah.
they're dropping on November 1st on the BBC Player, I would love for them to drop on the 23rd
yes,
to watch. And then everybody that's in the Europe location can pre-order the Blu-ray stuff for the specials already. And I'm messaging over here, are we gonna be getting this in the States too? Usually
Yeah,
you
like, what
guys
are we,
have a
chopped liver?
pre-order for us right now. And then somebody's like, well, yeah, you guys should. I'm just like, well, because now we're partnered with Disney, I don't know, because we know how Disney has been with releasing stuff on physical from their stuff that is only streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Well-
hopefully with this agreement that BBC's like, hey, you release a couple weeks after we do, please and thank you.
Yeah, and memo to Disney. I mean, if you really want to put out some goodwill that you desperately need,
And not piss off a loyal fan base.
yeah, that too. And you kind of need a little bit of extra spending cash. Maybe you could throw us a bone here. I'm just saying. Saying.
Pony up, because do you know how many people might actually subscribe? And do you know how many people are going to be buying said sets if you do so?
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's like, I get it. It's a British institution. Just
but
saying.
Still, yeah, I know.
Like, those of us alive now that are consuming your product, we had nothing to do with that dropping the tea in the harbor,
Right, yes.
Yeah. Let's go leave the past in the past.
I mean,
we're friends now. I mean, more recent history, but yes.
And it's just like,
I would be shocked if we didn't, if it wasn't
right.
available.
I mean, every single year when the specials came out, I would pre-order for these to have the digital copy to, hey, here, thank you, I appreciate. Make more. I buy physical. Here, appreciation. Make more.
Yeah, see, this is my thing that I just do not get. Is there all this talk about these streaming services, and I'm not, I'm talking about all of them, who are like, oh gosh, we need to up the prices, we need to slap ads on everything, we need to do this, we need to do that. It's like, guys, home media is still a thing. It is. Yes. We will still buy it if you make it available.
Yes.
And you know what cuts into piracy issues?
Availability.
Availability, yes.
And it's just streaming, but you guys are notorious for taking certain things off, making them not available. Well, okay, if you're gonna have something streaming and then you say, oh, well, we're taking off, but good news, you can now buy it in our shop on Blu-ray.
Right, exactly. Or us having to revert to some not so kosher means to purchase said physical copies.
Yes. And then you don't have to piss off your customers by slapping a gazillion ads that don't even have anything to do with what you're watching. So I'm gonna tangent for just a moment, because Alex, we were watching Roku TV. We were watching Penguins of Madagascar, and he loves that movie. It was on, and Roku's one that is ad supported because it's free. But then during the ad, it's some R-rated thing on Stars that it's promoting.
Oh wait, whoa, no, not for kids. Jeepers.
I'm like, okay, you guys people complained about ads in the 80s and 90s on Saturday morning cartoons targeting children.
Right.
And, being, at least they were kid friendly.
Exactly.
Like,
they were shilling for the toy companies. That's fine, but that's
fine. I want, if my kid wants whatever G.I. Joe, He-Man, Ninja Turtle figure, great, I'll buy it for him for Christmas or birthday or whatever. I don't care. It's something he likes, but not this R-rated shoot 'em up gangster flick on. So ads. Anyway. My whole thing is like, we want physical media. Stop slapping ads on all your things. And people will buy the physical copies. and that's a good way to get money. I don't know why this is such an issue now, but it is.
And and by sarcastic, what a concept! Physical,
Seriously,
more money. And guys, what if something happens where your streaming service happens to go down for a little bit?
Somebody buys you out, or
right?
You know, you take. I mean, how many streamers have taken content off that you just?
How many different
can't get
services
anywhere
has
else?
Doctor Who been on?
That too.
1, 3. Wait a minute. 4.
Or
At least.
it's like, yes, streaming is convenient, and I do use it a lot.
I do
but
too.
At the same time, it's not permanent. It's very ephemeral, and I would very much like to own my favorite things where I can watch them anytime, and they won't get deleted or changed or whatever.
Or you're
else.
missing things that you can only get on the DVDs. Well, it's interesting we're bringing this up because we're gonna have an interesting. Interesting point to talk about when it comes to DVD releases when we get to the main topic.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So yeah, I'm like, for years, home media has been a staple of distribution in entertainment, and now they're just ditching it because, like, ooh, streaming, we can milk our customers. But guess what? Every time you raise the prices, you lose subscribers. So, what was the point?
Yep.
I'm just saying. This has been a soapbox of mine for a little while. Especially because we've had to cancel a few things because finances are strapped, but I still have 2 little kids who there are things they love to watch.
Right.
And I'll give them credit. They made Bluey available on DVD, and it's on YouTube, and my daughter loves that.
And what's the little thing if something happens with a solar flare or something, and the internet goes wonky for Lord knows how long?
Oh my gosh! How many times does the internet go down?
Entertained.
Well,
yes, exactly.
I think if something like a solar flare happens, I don't think we're going to have electricity.
Well,
you know what I'm getting at.
Okay,
EMP.
A gopher choose the cable for the internet connection. That's happened. Anyway, sorry. We've been on this tear. Jared and I have just been like, what the hell? Like, come on, guys.
Yep.
It's like I'm going to, as long as I possibly can, I am going to. We just bought like a little cheap $50 Blu-ray player for our upstairs bedroom. So I'm like, no, I'm not taking the chance that I can't. There's stuff I won't be able to watch.
And it plays regular DVDs just fine. Even up
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And it's not anything flashy or fancy, but it doesn't need to be.
Nope.
And I quite like, and I don't have to worry about, my kid is going to get marketed something that is wholly inappropriate.
Exactly. It's just like this is one of my soapbox that this is a hill I will die on. Physical it's needed.
It absolutely is, and I'm very upset that the model seems to be, we're just not going to have it at all. Like, okay, yeah, have your streaming, have all your digital stuff. That's fine. Just please let physical media stick around, please.
And it's like, who in the heck is your business advisors telling you that this is a good thing?
Right.
That's my question.
We may
Nobody's asking us.
Yeah.
I know. There's some decisions that I'm like,
we're just the consumers who have the pocketbooks that might, that we would, physical content. Yeah, here, give, shut up, take my money.
But piss us off enough, and we'll just like, well, I'm going to take this money and go find somebody who actually appreciates it. So, bye, Felicia.
Yep.
Which I have done several times in recent memory.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. That was
No,
that whole spiel just.
it's a tangent that needs to
It's-
be made known.
It's an ongoing discussion, although I think it's come gotten a bit more of a swelled back up, because what it was in the last like week or two that Best Buy said they're going to stop selling physical media in their stores.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Well, and I've been banging the drum.
I'm not going to stop there anymore.
I haven't bought physical media from Best Buy in ages. They're too expensive.
Well, that too.
That
I mean,
too.
I used
That
to.
too.
I mean, I used to be part of their loyalty program, and yeah, I mean, when they had a lot, because I spent quite a bit, and the reward was worth it. But now it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, like that one I can go. That one I can buy the same stuff at like Target for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ever since when Disney Plus launched and they had Splash on there, and they censored Daryl Hannah's butt with that really awful looking ass toupee. I'm like, why did you do that? I mean, I like Splash. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. And I'm like, if I own my own Blu-ray DVD, nobody can change that. Nobody can get in there and tweak it and make a mess of it, or you can't fix it. I don't want you to fix
whatever Greedo's stupid line was.
Oh, that too.
In the remodified special.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I don't want to just depend on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless you happen to own one of the one of those versions, like like the director's cut versus another cut versus like And then if you're a completionist, and you're like, I have to have all 5 different cuts of Blade Runner,
Yeah. But then you have them and they're yours.
Yeah.
And they can't take them away from you. At least that is
they can't
hope,
tinker.
Yeah, you can't mess with it, and you can't say, well, we the studios think that this is a better version, and we're just kind of like, but I like that other version, so
cue us with the Nick Fury line.
Yeah. Or Clint Eastwood in that one movie, get off my lawn.
Yes, that too.
So physical media, I'm just telling people, and I know it gets expensive, but we are, like, Jared and I are just kind of on this thing, like, if there's something we really, really like, movie or even a book, we don't just depend on the digital stuff. We actually make an effort to buy said thing.
Right. Or if it's too expensive for me, I will put it in my wish list. I'll put it in my Amazon cart and save it for later. And then I check, okay, price drop. Okay, maybe. Or wait until the Black Friday deals. I'm like, ooh, yeah, perfect. Click, 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 click.
That too.
Done and dusted.
Because, and even the library, but sometimes we have to get rid of stuff because it's old or not checking out, or we just don't have room for it. Although that is what interlibrary loan is for as well. So, but
yep.
I mean, don't depend on outside sources. Depend on yourself. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
Yes.
So that tangent.
Back to the Doctor Who at hand. Sorry.
Yes. Sorry. When I can't buy something I want, I get very salty.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah. Well, and especially when they tell it, like when the BBC is all like, look at this great stuff we're getting. Oh, it's going to be on BBC iPlayer. And I'm like, like the upcoming other special stuff that's going to be available on BBC iPlayer the day after tomorrow as we're recording this, which is going to be pretty much all of Who.
Pretty much. And
then a series called Tales of the TARDIS. And they're calling the whole thing the Whoniverse. This is going to be Tales of the TARDIS, which is going to be a 6-part series that brings back classic Doctor and Companion duos. And it says, as they board a very special TARDIS on a nostalgic voyage through space and time. So it's reprising their roles as the Doctor and Companions to go on a timey-wimey spin down memory lane.
I would like the record to show that fans have been calling it the Hooniverse for years. So
Yes.
BBC, you owe us all a nickel.
Yep. But we're gonna have Vicky and Steven, Jamie and Zoe, Joe, and the 5th Doctor, and Tegan, the 6th Doctor, and Perry, 7th Doctor, and Ace.
Oh.
Yeah.
Grabby hands. Grabby hands.
Yeah, you see why we're all kind of like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my actual
gimme.
Yeah. Where's my actual TARDIS so I can hop over there tomorrow, watch it come back.
Or I guess it's like is BBC iPlayer, is that one of those ones that you can convince it that you actually live in the UK with a VPN?
I think, but I think they've done some more jiggery pokery to stop that from happening. I was halfway tempted to try to do that too, but I was like, but then I'm going to.
I mean, you could try it. It wouldn't hurt anything. It's not like it's gonna blow up.
Right. I'm gonna try it a little bit later on that November 1st. I'm gonna try going to BritBox because it's the older Doctors and the older Doctor content, including the Fiveish Doctors reboot is on BritBox with the older stuff. So I'm gonna check to see if they are going to cooperate and play nice and do that, or wait until Disney puts their stuff up and see. Because I've been kind of vocal on the Facebook with the international, the main Doctor Who announcement and some of the other groups. It's like, American here, big fan. What about us over? We want to see this too. Hint, hint, hint.
I know, especially because with the 50th, I mean, they bent over backwards to make sure international viewers had.
They made it so that literally almost everyone across the globe could watch it all at the same time.
Exactly. Now, it was helped that it was the weekend before our Thanksgiving holiday, so that's just
it helped that it landed on a Saturday.
That was the calendar's fault.
But UK,
Thanksgiving,
America. Some people don't want to watch football. Captive audience.
Well, as long as the Lions win.
Right. Yeah. True.
Sorry, I know the Lions are playing the Packers that day, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, sports ball. Way the Pack's looking at it might be Gerger.
I do feel bad because I like Jordan Love a lot. And come on, guys.
Yeah, we aren't going to go there. The Inter Milan game was the highlight of my Sunday. Let's just put it there.
Yeah. Nick had a very good birthday yesterday.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Excellent. Excellent. Anyway, but yeah, some of us watch both. I'm just saying. But yes, we'll watch. You put David Tennant back in Doctor Who, and hello.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know how many people in the U.S. kind of consider David Tennant their Doctor?
All of them.
Just saying.
Most of them.
Okay. I will. Okay, it's between him and Tom Baker. I will concede that point, but still.
I'm just trying to convince, in case of somebody who has the BBC is listening. I'm trying to prove a PowerPoint presentation, kind of like the Will Smith Facebook meme.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm just kind of like, even if nobody's listening, we'll just put it out there in the universe, and the universe can can relay the message. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Mhm.
Come on.
Come on, yes.
But
Nice
some of-
ESPN reference there.
Yes.
I
I've
got
been
it.
saying "come on, man" all day, so it's just one more thing.
Mhm.
But yes, like some of these studios and just entertainment creators, big time entertainment creation in general. You're kind of all on my shit list right now.
Mhm.
So any reason you give me any reason to be pissed off at you, and I will take it.
Uh-huh.
Just
You're looking in the wrong spot for the pulse. Let's just put it that way.
Mhm.
pretty much. I mean, good. I'm glad that the UK audience gets it, and
Yes.
they know they're getting it, and they know when and where and all that, and that is fine. That is wonderful. Like,
Yes,
you
I'm
guys
happy
enjoy.
for them. Yes, I'm happy for
Yes.
them, but then I want to partake too.
It's like
Mhm.
I just want to participate.
Yes,
That's like that's all. That's it. That's all.
Mhm. I want to
on it.
celebrate with you.
Mhm.
So
Like, I want to be
This
part
is
of
a
this birthday party.
I want to be invited to this one, please.
Yeah.
anyway,
We'll just have to wait and see. I mean,
Yeah.
Man, they could make more announcements. Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
see. And
I mean,
when
November
those announcements
hasn't started
come,
yet.
I know.
true. When those
But
announcements
still,
come, we'll
we
post
grumble.
them.
Mhm. Yep.
Or at least put US peeps TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something to that effect. Like, yes, you
just-
will be getting it. We just have to work out
Yeah,
we have to work out the details. If they would put
Yeah.
something like that, I'd be perfectly fine knowing that, yes, if I wait patient enough, I know what's coming.
Mhm.
That would happy camper, less stress.
exactly. But whatever.
Mhm.
It's like I'm standing here with my time and my money, willing to give it to you. But if you don't want it, I mean, that's fine. I can find someone else.
Yeah.
Not naming names or
No.
methods.
Yeah.
Just a thing. It's a thought.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so there's the plans for the 60th, and if hopefully the rest of us are invited too.
Mhm.
But we'll find out.
Yeah.
If you hear a whole bunch of loud screaming within the next couple of weeks, you know what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So there's that. There's
Yep.
all of that kvetching.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then speaking of DJ Nick, in your gold standard feeds, we've got the latest Academy Award winning film with the 2015 film Spotlight, which I'm just gonna warn you now, between the most recent Best Picture winner and our Patreon episode, I have been on a soapbox. So
Soapbox / Russian judge.
no, not so much that. It's more the subject matter.
Gotcha.
It's not necessarily the films itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the subject matter, because these are delicate subjects.
Mm-hmm.
That still
But
have
the
relevance.
Academy awarding message fic.
No.
And my surprise.
Well,
face. Let me show
they
you.
do to a point. So the message, but not as long as the message isn't too on the nose,
Mm-hmm. In that head meet hammer.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds me of that meme of the girl with the tuba, and the tuba's like covering up the other girl's face, who's like pinned to the wall.
Mhm.
And I'm like, there's your message.
Mhm.
Be prepared for some loud feedback.
Mhm.
That too, yeah. All right, so there we go.
Yeah, so
Gold
there's
standard. Go listen to that.
yeah, and then the Patreon episode is also in the Patreon feeds for those that want to listen to that, which is the 2000 film Traffic. So we've got Spotlight, which is about the Catholic Church. I'll let you finish that sentence.
Mhm.
And then Traffic, which is about drugs. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The last few recordings. So oh, so there's that. So feedback from Shalane, which seems like she kind of went on a soapbox. Says, hello ladies, I was
Seems
wondering
like
where
it.
you girls were last week. You didn't post anything about no show for last week. Like, oh, yes, that's my fault. I'm sorry, it got away from me. Stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, stuff. But anyway, here's my history of Ahsoka and the Clone Wars animated series. Was out 15 years ago. I never was interested in it because it was like Cartoon Network or a different station. I think it was Cartoon Network. I used to watch Cartoon Network when I was younger, but they don't have the shows I used to love in my childhood. So yeah, that's why I never watched it. I was too busy with the other shows I love that were on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. Hey, fair enough. Then after my senior year of high school, I went to ABC Family, which is now called Freeform, along with ABC because of Once Upon a Time and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think Rebels was released around that time too. Since when I decided to become a total nerd and went to Comic-Con for the first and back on loving Star Wars more because of the release of The Force Awakens. Anyway, tons of cosplay of Ahsoka at Comic-Con, and she even had a book about her. Yeah. But I had trouble. The best Star Wars characters and who are people's favorites. Everyone loves Yoda, Han Solo, and R2-D2. Same thing with the MCU characters. Everyone loves Thor and Captain America. Plus, the same way in Harry Potter. Hardly the girls in pop culture don't get enough love. That is true. Because I see young girls and middle-aged women dressed as Hermione, Leia, and Black Widow. Until around the time when Carrie Fisher passed away, I did see some girls around my age with Princess Leia merch. And when I was getting ready for Infinity War, girls around my age explained how awesome Black Widow is. So now all girls in pop culture get love now. Yes. And a lot of that helps with Ashley Eckstein and the Her universe and us actually having merch made for us.
Yes.
So although there is still some IPs and characters that Her universe has not gotten around to yet, that I'm like, just waiting. So
please.
Yes. But yeah, since just being a female nerd has become more accepted, it has definitely helped.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do.
Yes.
Now back with Star Wars, I was going to watch Clone Wars after Star Wars Rogue One was released. Never loved that one way more, but I went to watch Stranger Things and Parks and Rec. I need to get back and watch Parks and Rec because I'm planning to be Leslie Knope for Halloween one day. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Then Star Wars started to fall out of my life because of The Last Jedi and the Han Solo movie, and everyone was loving the MCU more until The Mandalorian came out and Star Wars came back, and then I decided to watch Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch. Now, I understand why Ahsoka is the best. I found the voice actress Ashley Eckstein created her universe. Yep. Which I'm saving my money for because those outfits are awesome. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
So when I met Ashley Eckstein, I was wearing her universe merchandise and she recognized it.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So now Ahsoka is my third favorite female Star Wars character after Rey and Bo-Katan. The list always changes, yeah. It's hard to decide who's the best characters the same way I'm with musicals, but there's a reason they're popular. Yep. So anyway, I love Ahsoka series, and it was great seeing the Rebel characters go from animation to live action, kind of like Disney and their live action remakes. Better. My opinion. Yeah. I'm going to go back and rewatch Clone Wars and Rebels when I have time because I was going to do before Ahsoka series, but I didn't because I was too busy. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
But it's funny, 15 years ago, Star Wars The Clone Wars was released, and we got Ahsoka, the TV series. Also, have you thought about planning to talk about the animated series of Star Wars? Oh, I'm sure we will eventually.
Oh, yeah. It's in the list, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll happen eventually. So.
That ever-growing TARDIS library-sized list
Yeah.
of ours.
Oh yeah, there's
Yep.
yeah, that was the funny thing about all the strikes and everything, and
Yeah.
we're just kind of like, look, if Hollywood stopped making things tomorrow, there's like a backlog of awesome stuff to watch and talk about
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you would never get done with in your whole lifetime. Like I've got some classic stuff on Tubi that I'm like, oh, I want to watch this, and have I got around to it? No, because I'm watching YouTube videos of little kids playing with dolls because Lottie loves them. I'm just saying, life happens.
Yeah.
You get what-
So don't worry if this writer's strike actor strike happens to continue. Don't worry, we got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, we're covered, and that's without talking about books that we could. delve
And really,
into.
that's not even diving into some of our go-tos for when we need a topic. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're covered. We're good.
We yeah.
It's just our problem is, and this is the true of most things, is my to be read list or to be watch list, to be podcasted about list. Yeah, it just keeps growing. It does not ever shrink.
No, it does not stop. It does not get smaller. It gets
and we have to pick and choose what we want to do. So
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: it's a good problem to have.
Yes. I'm not complaining. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
This is a problem I don't mind having.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. It says, last thing about Star Wars, I read that we're not sure if Patty Jenkins and Kevin Feige are still planning to do a Star Wars. Yeah, let's consider that on the far back burner.
Back burner, yeah.
Don't get me on the soapbox. Because I really want to talk about today's topic. So I'm
yes.
Yeah.
One tangent is enough.
Yes.
Yeah, we've already done that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Selene, maybe over Thanksgiving we can discuss it.
Yes.
I got words. Words. And we're coming down for Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah.
And some strongly worded words too, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
She says, one more thing I forgot to mention about Selena Gomez. She's named after the late Latin singer Selena. That makes sense.
Oh, yep.
It's a shame what happened to Selena. That Selena, the late Selena, not Selena Gomez. Although, I mean, Selena Gomez has had her own issues with the lupus and all that. So, all right, that's from Shalane. Then we got some feedback from Aaron. His subject says, "Hey, Snips." Says, "Hello, wonderful Fiveish hosts. It was fascinating to listen to you all cover the recent series because I haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels. I've seen the Clone Wars movie where it all began. In fact, I was one of the few who saw it in theaters. I have the series sitting on my TV rack, staring me in the face, but every time I start watching it, something comes up, and by the time I return to it, I forget what's going on. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the first couple of episodes. One of these days, I'm finally going to get through it. With that in mind, I actually quite enjoyed the series. I think it did a great job at presenting the story in a way where someone like me could pick up on the relevant information and follow along. Having listened to all your thoughts, it's nice to know that there's a lot more depth for those who know everything that has come before. I love the actors involved. Dawson is someone who rarely takes the lead in her projects, but she always delivers. So to see her take center stage here was fantastic. Winstead is someone who I've loved for years, and I'm continually disappointed that she doesn't get more recognition in bigger roles. But like usual, she's amazing. Seeing as how I don't have any previous context for Sabine, I thoroughly enjoyed Borzito's performance and found her captivating. Finally, there's Tenet. Do I really need to say anything? No, not really.
Not really. Nope. We got you. We got you.
We got it.
We know.
My only issue is with the ending. There was quite a bit of build up, and then it just sort of ended. The series trotted along at a great pace, and there was a little lull, and it ended. No bounce back or anything. Perhaps it was better received by those who know the Clone Wars and Rebels series, but for me, it stumbled in those last 15 or so minutes. Yeah, I think so. I think you kind of needed to know what you had to have the context to understand what was happening and why it was so important.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Or even if you don't, and you weren't aware of the fact that we're getting like supposed to, again, air quotes, supposed to get a Thrawn film, if not multiple Thrawn films. So if you didn't know that, then you would also be very confused. So, so you kind of have to go in with at least a little bit of knowledge of what's going on in the greater Star Wars universe. So,
yeah.
So, as always, thank you for the wonderful entertainment, and take care, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron.
Yes, thank you
And
both.
you will be
Aaron
happy
and
to know,
Shalane.
Aaron, that my hotel for Columbus is booked.
Sweet.
So I will see you in December.
Nice.
There is that. So, all right, moving on to this week's main topic, since it is Halloween week.
Yes.
As we're recording this, Halloween is tomorrow. So over the years, we have done various Halloween related stuffs with different movies and things out there. It's hard to top Mazes and Monsters, but
anything can pretty much top Mazes and Monsters. Let's just put it that way.
This one surpasses
come on.
This one, oh my gosh,
Tom Hanks, I love you, but
you got a rough start, man. You did.
Yeah.
But so we are.
This is a musical film based on a stage musical that was based on a non-musical movie from the early 60s, which in itself was inspired by several different books.
Yes.
And short stories.
Yes, this is the legendary Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors, Little Shop of Terrors.
I love.
Sorry, yes, we may be singing, and I don't care how much we get dinged.
I don't care either. I love this movie, and I will tell you, first time I did. Okay, I saw those stage play first at our little community theater.
The play or the musical?
The play. And
okay,
was
so the play.
The musical play, yes.
Okay.
They put on a production of our little small town community dinner theater. We went and saw it. Well, my parents went and saw it first, and they loved it. And they wanted to take us kids because at the time I had braces. This is relevant because my dad would be singing the dentist song. I'm like, where did you get that? He's like, and everything. And I'm like, okay, so, and it was, I can't remember if it was around Halloween or not. I feel like it was definitely in the fall that it was going on. And they just, they had this humongous Audrey II prop that took up the whole stage when it got to that point. And I just remember, that's the main thing I remember of that. And then, we all, like, all my whole family, we saw it. We all saw it eventually. I don't think we all went at the same time. I think my parents took us in shifts. I guess. So I'm like, was I with my sister or not? I don't remember. And and then we rented the VHS of the movie, and I watched it. And of course, it's got Rick Moranis in it. I love him because Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and and all those other wonderful movies that he was in the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, and also the movie, which I'm sure we'll get to, had the happy ending, which but I don't know why, because usually this is not normally something I would go for. I mean, it's not real gory, and it's not real, but it has a downer ending. It's kind of,
and what's funny is the downer ending of the movie is a different downer ending than the musical.
Right. Yeah.
The stage musical.
The movie, they gotta do.
They both have a downer ending, but it's a slightly different downer ending.
But I don't know. I guess I just loved the humor. I like there's all these actors in it that I am familiar with, and I'm like, and I the cheesiness of it, and they just lean into it, and
I mean,
I just
Steve Martin as the
Steve
dentist just
Martin.
chewing it up. I mean,
I know, and
I
I'm
was
like,
getting Eddie vibes from him. Like, if they couldn't have gotten Steve Martin, I could have easily seen Meatloaf in the dentist role.
Mm-hmm.
right?
It was
Yeah,
that.
There were a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the cast that we ended up getting
Mhm.
because because of Ellen, who plays
Ellen
human
Greer, yeah.
Audrey, she's the only carryover from the stage production. She's the original stage version of Audrey. And then everyone else was plucked from elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it's because this is the late 80s, 86, and the stage musical had only been around a few years. But it had done well enough off Broadway that they were like, yeah, let's turn this into a movie. And
what
it's actually, I mean, the version that I got from the library has just the happy ending.
Oh, okay.
It does yeah, I know there are newer versions that have both.
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray, and it has you can choose the theatrical or the director's cut.
It just has the theatrical happy ending. I think it's supposed to have like maybe not necessarily the ending itself, but like storyboards or pictures or something of the alternate scary ending. But when I went to go play it, like the DVD like froze. So I don't know if that's an issue with the DVD itself or what. It's not that you can't go online and find it.
So years ago, I was like, because I've loved this movie since I was, probably like in middle school, and but there were several years I hadn't watched it, and then I got it from the library one year when I was living with some roommates, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite movies, and it was Halloween. It's like I was going to show it to my roommates, and I showed it to them, and they were like, this is so dumb. It's like, this is so weird. Like, you like this? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you?
But
and I felt
that's kind of the point, though. Is it's kind of a bit of an homage, but also like a pastiche of like the 60s type musicals. Something like Grease or Bye Bye Birdie, where it's like this really hip, snappy like doo-wop type music. Like you've got these three women that are kind of the Greek chorus, because in the stage version there's a narrator, but
it's very much
but
it's tragedy,
so it's like you've got the introduction song, just the little shop of horrors, and then it goes into people singing about life on Skid Row. And it's, people sleeping on the street and not having enough food, and everything's gross and trashy, and but it's such a upbeat song, it's like,
I know, because the tune is catchy. Like I'll catch myself singing. I'm like, this song is depressing, but I love singing it. And what I love about this, especially, and you really see it in the Skid Row song, is that you can it really leans into the fact that this originally was a stage production, and it doesn't try to cover it up. It doesn't try to be like, we're gonna make this
very obvious that it was done on a sound stage.
It's on a sound
they
stage.
Don't try to make it look like New York.
Nope.
It's obvious sets and matte paintings. But as long as the characters come across the way they're supposed to, Seymour is supposed to be very sympathetic and kind of goofy, and Audrey is supposed to be, also a sympathetic character,
very sweet but very downtrodden, and
Mr. exactly. And as long as the
tough, but fair,
as long as the Audrey plant is done well, really nothing else matters.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
but
the plants.
It's like, yeah. But it's like you could see them. I mean, I'm gonna say this: if this movie was remade today, and I did see somewhere where like they were going to remake it some years ago, but it got canceled. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, because if they tried to do that now without
It's still
the
on stage.
earnestness-
Just go see it on
well,
stage.
no, well, yeah, it's on stage, but they tried to redo the movie and
Yes.
just kind of the way they do. I'm like, no, do not, because you guys would like do the wink and the nod, and there would be like this tone of, oh, this is so dumb underneath it, and you
They'd
wouldn't take it
probably do Audrey
seriously.
II and all CGI, and it'd be like, this is
Yeah,
dumb.
and the best part about Audrey II is that it was an actual puppet, and like they had, and yes, like people from Brian Henson, like holy crap, Frank Oz is directing this, for crying out loud. So like maybe the Henson Company isn't officially doing it, but they might as well have been.
There's a lot of them involved. I mean, the poor little girl that comes out of the dentist's office with the cage on her face, that's Jim's daughter.
Oh, wow.
So it's like,
because I was watching it again, and I was like, and it'd been a little while, and I own the Blu-ray, but I was like, okay, did the Henson Company officially do this? I'm like, no, but enough of them were working on it that it was, because it is just
their fingerprints were latently there. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, the influence is definitely there. But yes, you're right. As long as they get the Audrey II plant right, and they treat it like it is another character, and they're not acting against a green screen or some like dummy thing that's going to be put in
tennis ball on a stick.
Yeah, tennis ball on a stick. It's like, and it's really Rick Moranis talking to this giant thing with Levi Stubbs' voice coming out of it. Just threatening him and all this stuff, and it's so it's like, yeah, like you guys, they could have cut corners, but they didn't, even though it looks cheap, but that's what it's supposed to look like. It's one of those that it looks like it's supposed to, that they put a lot of care, and they took what they had and made something amazing. And those kinds of movies,
as Dolly Parton likes to say, it takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
Yes, it's kind of like, well, it's not even that. It's why I like the original Star Wars so much. Is like, in my head, I'm like, you did all this, and you were like doing it with chicken wire and chewing gum, and it looks this good. It looks this amazing, and that's why. I mean, the music is catchy as hell in this, and the characters are fun, and it looks like they actually gave a crap. And that is like what I'm talking about, is like these movies. This movie, like, yeah, maybe it's about it's about an alien plant trying to, and a little bit of a cautionary tale too of don't, the things you want in life, you don't justify doing terrible things to get them, because you may doom the entire planet. But it's also funny,
if you're selfish and only think about yourself, you could hurt other people.
Yeah, that's.
Although I watched somebody a review video on YouTube, and somebody brought up a good point, because it's like the real obvious is human Audrey is in an abusive relationship with the crazy dentist played by Steve Martin, which he's not the reason that I have dental anxiety, but he doesn't help even all these years later. Even rewatching it today, I was like flashbacks to every horrible dentist visit ever. But if you think about it, Seymour is also in an abusive relationship
with Mushnick.
With Audrey II.
Right.
Well, yes. But
Audrey II is pushing him around and, essentially threatening him, gaslighting him, all the things that the dentist is doing to Audrey, Audrey II is doing to Seymour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it starts because, the floral shop is so, there's nobody there. They don't have customers. And Seymour talks about that, Mr. Mushnick took him in as an orphan, but he doesn't really treat him all that well. But it's like, oh, he gave me a place to sleep and floors to sweep. And it's like, okay, yeah, I gave you a job, but he also kind of doesn't treat you very well. So then finally, Seymour does something that actually helps the business, helps the shop, and Mushnik is happy, but he's also like, no, you make sure that plant survives and you take care of it, because so he feels like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, I've got to take care of this plant, to the point that he's giving the plant his own blood. And he's getting very, very
his
ill
entire
because of it.
self-worth is tied up into this plant.
Yes. Because this is the first time that his father figure actually gave a crap about him.
Right.
Because you have this strange and unusual plant that is bringing the floral shop money. Which makes me wonder, like, what if Seymour had taken Mushnik up on the offer, like, here, tell me how to take care of the plant, and I'll, and you go run away, and we won't get the cops involved, and all this. And I'm kind of like, well, you feed it, minerals, people, feed it,
people,
feed it. It wants blood.
Yeah, I'm surprised Audrey II.
And
never
actual people, not
out...
Soylent Green. You can't feed
No.
Audrey II Soylent Green.
Right, green. And I'm surprised that Audrey II hadn't threatened Mushnik for the way he was treating Seymour.
That's true. Although I can't really hate Mushnik, because he does try to get Audrey, like, hey, look, that boyfriend of yours is no good.
He's no good, right? Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm starting to think he's not a very nice guy. Like, she came in with a black eye. You think? You're starting to think he's not a very nice guy.
Yeah. So
it's no wonder Mushnik's shop was not doing very well.
Yeah. Well, that's just all of Skid Row. It's just, this is what it is. But then, like, people come by like, oh, here's something interesting, so I'm going to come out here and go out of my way to buy flowers and stuff. But but it's just, I don't know. It's like all of these people, or there's all these characters like Orin Scrivello. We really should not like him. He is bad news. He is terrible, and yes, he looks like plant food to me. At the same time, he's hilarious. He is. And maybe it's the way Steve Martin plays him. Although when I saw the stage play, the guy who was playing him back then is like, okay, yeah, you are hamming it up and you're having a good time too. So that's just the way the character is. But he's a scum of the earth, and you feel justified and like, yes, Seymour, go kill that SOB, feed him to your plant.
Yep.
Because he not only, he's treating Audrey abysmally, he also treats his patients terrible. It's like, you kind of think, how do you still have a license to practice dentistry, man?
Because his dentistry.
Obviously.
But, his malpractice insurance must be through the roof, or does he even have malpractice insurance?
I imagine most people are probably too terrified to sue.
Yeah, that could be. We're not trying to apply logic to this story here, but at the same time, it's like,
it's a man-eating plant from outer space. Logic went right out the window.
You just sit back and enjoy the ride. But he's so fun to watch. Even I hate saying this, even when he's torturing people, because and it's the song. It's like he loves his mama. It's the whole sort of pseudo Elvis thing that he's got going, and of course Steve Martin is playing him, and it's like, yes, I hate your guts, and I know you're gonna get your just desserts, but damn if you are just a fun character to watch, except for when he's beating up Audrey. It's like, no. It's like, oh yeah, I know you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Seymour's gonna come and.
What's fun? It's like, you see him actually strike Audrey after he forced her to walk after him when she fell off the motorcycle. He didn't stop and let her get back on. He makes her walk in her tight dress and high heels. What's funny is where they were filming in the soundstage next door, they were filming Aliens. So the sequel to Alien. which was funny because Rick Moranis would sometimes have lunch with Sigourney Weaver because they were both in Ghostbusters.
Oh.
But it's like, we're watching poor Audrey get beat up by this crazy boyfriend of hers. It's like you just could have had Sigourney Weaver come busting through the wall in the mech suit going, "Lay your hands off her, you bitch."
Yeah.
Right.
Set up Seymour too in the corner
Let
as a
him out the
Venus
airlock.
trap.
Yeah, there's a spare one that Seymour could strap on.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Okay. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is funny.
But yeah, it's just it's like there are not a lot of characters in this movie that. Well, okay. What am I trying to say? There are a lot of characters in this movie that are not likable, or they're not good people, but they are. I will say they are enjoyable characters. They are fun to watch. It's a fun movie to see, and the ones who do get off, I mean, like Scrivello, yeah, he had it coming. Even Mushnick, I don't know. I always feel weird about his death scene. Just because
in this version, it makes
kind of
it
a jerk.
Bit more justifiable because he immediately is all like, pulling a gun on Seymour. In the,
but at the same time,
stage version, he's more blackmailing Seymour and ends up killing or using Audrey to kill a robber when the flower shop gets robbed. He convinces the robber that all of the money is inside Audrey.
Ingenious.
I mean, that really is a good, that's a good security system.
Yeah. So, but they also in the film, Seymour is also way more sympathetic because in the 1960 film, that's just a straight movie, he does like. He ends up killing like just random people on the street.
Yeah, it's a bit more Sweeney Todd.
Yeah,
in that way, but yeah, this one, it's this sweet little nerdy guy who's pining after the girl that he thinks he's not good enough for, but she's got her own self-esteem issues, but. But I read that about the 1960s version. I'm like, it's that classic. I mean, it's a classic horror trope. Is like you don't like any of the characters, and you're looking forward to them getting killed off in terrible, horrible ways. But this one is not so much.
No.
For all of them, some of them, yes, but I mean,
in Steve Martin's Kate, absolutely. He deserved it.
But and then, well, let's see. Should we start talking about the two endings, or is there more we want to talk about the rest of the thing?
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise it's fair. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. Is this? Seymour finds himself in this outrageous circumstance where suddenly people are paying attention to him in a seemingly positive way.
He gets his own.
He ends up on TV and on the radio, which you got a nice little cameo from John Candy there. Playing one of those crazy DJs that does all the sound effects and stuff. Helps
that it's the weird, what is it? The weird world of stuff. I can't remember what the name of the radio show was, but it's weird.
With this underlying love story between Audrey and Seymour, and how they just want a better life than what they've got now, and you've got the song Somewhere That's Green, where Audrey is dreaming about things that we just kind of take for granted.
Let me go back to that, because
a toaster and a garbage disposal,
and because she has, you look at Skid Row, you kind of get to see her apartment a little bit, and it's like it, you know, things that, I mean, there's a lot of people nowadays who are like, oh, suburbia, like how dare you, like you shouldn't want that, that's just gross. But she's like, no, I live in the middle of the city and it's this really crappy place and it sucks and it's dirty and I have to take, you know, it's implied that she probably, you know, worked at a strip club of some kind at one point. And she's like, look, I just want a normal life. I want a family. I want a nice house, a yard, you know, the nuclear family, 2.5 kids, maybe a dog, put plastic on the furniture, you know, Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And it's just a peaceful life. She doesn't want, you know, to run a company. She doesn't want to be a girl boss. She just wants a normal life with the man that she loves. And it's like, it's so sweet because it's coming from Audrey. And she absolutely deserves better than what she's got. And if that's what she wants, then, you know, let her have it. And it's one of my, I'll say it. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like I love this movie, and I love just how she's like, you know, this is, you know, just how earnest she is in her you know, her I Want song, and you know that this movie, you know, was written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, or you know, the music and all that was done by them. So like it's very very aerial, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there that compare the music and how they sound familiar, similar to each other. And it's like, well, I'm pretty sure that Alan Menken can rip off himself without any issue.
Sure
so
that is totally allowed. That is totally fine.
It's because of really we have this musical and this movie in a weird roundabout way to thank for the Disney Renaissance, because it was one of the producers that was friends with what's his face, the guy that went off that ended up leaving after the Disney because he was too controlling.
Katzenberg.
Yeah. One of the producers of the movie was friends with Jeffrey Katzenberg, and he introduced him to Howard Ashman. So it's because of that connection that Disney was introduced to Howard and Alan. And they came, you know, they did like one-offs, they did like one of the song, or like Howard did like one of the songs in Oliver and Company, but it snowballed from there. And the next thing you know, they're doing The Little Mermaid, and Ariel's got her, you know, every Disney princess since then has had most of the Disney princesses since the beginning have had an I Want song, because an I Want song is very common in musicals to begin with. But, you know, part of that world, very much reminiscent of Somewhere That's Green. And then they go on to do Beauty and the Beast, which gets nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, which was unheard of. You know, and then Aladdin, and then unfortunately Howard ends up passing away. But you know, Alan Menken is still doing work with the Disney company even now. So we need to give Alan Menken his due one of these days.
Absolutely.
But in a weird roundabout way, we have Little Shop of Horrors to thank for the Disney Renaissance.
So I would say Audrey is kind of an honorary Disney princess.
I would say so.
Because so that song is so sweet, and it's such a contrast from where they are right now, where all the things that are going on, and it's kind of so it's funny that there is such a sweet song like that in the middle of this story about an alien plant trying to eat everybody. But yeah, so that's really cool. I love that scene, and I don't know, people might dog on it because ew, how dare she just want to be a housewife with a family and stuff. Like, no, that's like, let her have that. That's very it's very endearing. And And yeah, so that's Audrey. She deserves so much better.
And in one version, she does get it.
And yes, that is true.
So,
one version she dies
because
horribly.
in the stage musical,
that was one thing in the stage musical that I was like,
in the stage musical, Audrey survives, right?
No, not in the one I saw.
Okay, well, I think in earlier versions, she survives.
Versions. Yeah, because I remember it, and it's I remember that she sings that last little bit of that reprise of Somewhere That's Green, and then Seymour puts her body in the in the stage play I saw. He puts her body into the plant, and it gets eaten, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
So that part, I was like,
oh yeah, no, Audrey does get eaten. I'm sorry. But what it is Seymour, Audrey, Mushnick, and Orin all eventually get eaten, and they're the guy from the company, the World Botanical Enterprises, because they've all been eaten and are now gone. They are like, oh, we could take the cuttings from the plant, but in the process, the buds open up around the giant Audrey plant, and in the buds it has the faces of the characters that have been eaten, and they sing a song warning about don't feed the plants, and that's how the stage version ends.
Yes, that's how the stage version ends, and that would have been cool and also a little creepy to do in the movie. Like, I don't. So let me talk about the movie's ending for a second. So when I saw the stage production, then we rented the VHS of the movie, which had the theatrical version, the ending, and like all of a sudden, like Audrey gets caught in the plant, Seymour rescues her, and all of a sudden she's gonna be fine, which I thought was weird. But then and then Seymour goes in. There's a scuffle. There's mean green mother from outer space. So, they sing that,
which was written for the film. That's not from the stage version.
Which is how it could get nominated for the best picture or best song,
original song,
or best original song, yes.
Yeah.
So and then Seymour electrocutes the planet, blows up, and then the next thing is the scene of Seymour and Audrey having just gotten married, running into that sweet little house from Somewhere That's Green, and the doo-wop girls walk by, but then in the garden there's the little tiny Audrey II plant, and you're like, ooh, what's going to happen next? Well, I will say this is the first time, because I had seen the ending, the downer ending before, where rocks fall, everyone dies, but I had seen it was like the black and white version on YouTube, and it wasn't very good, and I could, all that stuff. But this was the first time I had watched the director's cut from beginning to end, and where I got that ending as part of the whole movie. And I was like, honestly, and I hate downer endings. I hate endings where everybody dies and nobody ends up happy. I hate that. It's one of the reasons I like romance novels so much, is because you have to have a happy ending. You cannot have an ending where the main characters do not end up where they want to be. But I really liked the way that this ending is paced, how it fits in with the rest of the story. I mean, that bit, I read somewhere that, if the director's cut had been the theatrical release, Ellen Green would probably have been nominated for an Oscar just for her death scene. And that whole bit where Seymour is like walking into the shop with her body, and he puts her into the plant, and it's this very moving scene, and her hand is there, and he's just so, it's so emotional, and it's so touching, and it's almost just like, but I like it. It's so weird for me to say, because it was so well done. And then there's the ending where the Greek chorus comes out, and it's like, this is, what you've just witnessed. This is what's happening. This is the rest of it's what's happened. And then it's this big monster movie with all the Audrey II plants coming to grab people and eat them. And apparently it becomes
all War of the Worlds.
Yeah, War of the Worlds. it's a very appropriate ending for the kind of movie this is. That it's sort of that B monster movie sort of thing, and there's the military's coming out to try to get things, and the one is climbed to the top of the Statue of Liberty, and I'm just like, and they just go over the top ridiculous because why wouldn't you? And maybe it's because it's Halloween and I'm in that mood, and I don't really watch a lot of gory slasher R-rated horror flicks because I just can't do it. But this kind of just put me in that mindset of this is a really good Halloween movie and I love it. So maybe
I think
I can
yeah.
I
I think
think
people accepting the ending, that ending
Uh-huh.
now, is also a sign of just how tastes have changed.
that could be.
Because
But
when
I
they,
do like the happy ending one
Yeah.
too. So maybe it's just a matter of what kind of mood I'm in.
yeah, because they did a test screening with the Audreys taking over the world ending, and I read that you want at least, I'm assuming this is out of 100, you want at least a 55, so slightly over
Yeah.
passing, I guess. For most films, they got a 15.
Ooh.
So then they did
Yeah.
another screening in another city, and it still was panned. So then they were like, oh shit, well, we need to change the ending. So they gave it the happy, they live happily ever after ending, with the ambiguous, like, oh, well, no, there's still an Audrey seedling out there that if it can get food could become a problem. So people need to watch their dogs when they're walking them down the street.
I was like, it might. I mean, it never. Because I wonder, because Seymour did offer, like, I'll go down to the butcher and get you some sirloin. But Audrey's like, no, it has to be human or whatever. It says it has to be fresh. It's like,
I think it's more it has to be fresh and bloody.
Yeah. Which I'm like, but still, okay, go down to the butcher shop and did they just kill a pig? There you go. You can take its head, feed it to your plant.
Yes. So it's like,
so like, watch out for your cat.
Yeah. But when they in the 90s, when DVD releases were finally a thing, they released the initial DVD release had the black and white, no sound effects, no score, very, very, essentially just a mock-up.
Pretty much. I think that was the one
of the world is going to be destroyed ending. But the DVD company or manufacturer or whatever didn't actually have permission to put that on there. So they had to recall the DVD. So if anyone went out and bought that one and has it, you got yourselves a collector's item. So yeah, they pulled those from the shelves, released the version that's probably similar to the version I got from my library. And then in like 2012 or something, Frank Oz gave his blessing for them to release it with like the version that you have, Chrissy, with the better looking,
it's got
non fairy tale ending. It's ending. So,
and I do like they included both versions because like I said, I liked the bad ending. Fits a lot better with the movie just in terms of pacing and storytelling and whatnot. The good ending seems a little rushed, and you can tell it was done in pickups or reshoots or whatever. But it has its charms too. So it's like I like that I can go back and forth between like, oh, which one do I want? The horror, terrible, rocks fall, everyone dies version, or do I want to see Audrey and Seymour get their happy end? So it just kind of depends. And I remember reading something that Frank Oz said about having to redo the ending is that, an ending like that where everybody dies works on the stage because everybody comes out after the play is over for their final bows and the applause and everything. So even though you've just sat through a story where all these characters have died in the play, they still come out at the end and you see them, they're going to be okay. Like I remember when I saw the stage play, they come out and everyone who got eaten is kind of in a wrecked, ripped up version of their costume.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fine. They were totally fine. You clap, you know, you yell, you scream. You're happy for them. They did a good job, and it's great. In a movie, you don't really do that. They just roll credits, and you don't see them. And he was like, well, maybe that's part of the reason why that people didn't like that, because you spend all this time getting to know these characters, and you're actually a little sympathetic, especially to Seymour and Audrey to a point, and you don't want to see him die. And you know, it's because like I said, in most horror movies, the main characters are pretty unlikable, and you're cheering for the monster to get him. You can't wait to see them get you know, bite it. But in this movie, other than I mean, you're okay with Oren getting offed. You're kind of okay with Mushnik, but Audrey is a bridge too far. And even Seymour, even though you can argue that he kind of brought it on himself, at the same time you also see why, and you understand his point of view and all these things. And so it's so those two, at least you're kind of like, no, you don't do that. But I don't know, it's either way it works, but I just kind of think one ending works better than the other. But I still like it. So that's a me. I freely admit that.
Yeah.
Somebody else might have
it makes sense.
Have a different opinion. Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yes.
So, but you know, I wasn't it. I haven't seen the stage version yet. And yeah, because like the every version, every time, you know, the handful of times that I've seen it, it's always been with the happy ending. So it's like I don't really know any different. So when you don't know any different, you're like, you know, it's like, oh look, it's a musical with a happy ending. They live happily. They live happily ever after. Maybe.
I mean, there are. I'm trying to think if I've seen. I mean, you just kind of have to pay attention to, you know, your local theater companies, you know, or even like if, you know, local high school, even if they were to do it, just to see it. But it is definitely worth seeing in person. Just for the experience of it, I guess. And like we said, it's not a Broadway musical; it's an off-Broadway musical, but it's still worth. If you can see it, if you can see it in person. See the stage production. I recommend it.
Did well when it did run. I mean, it was off Broadway when it originally opened in 1982. It did London's West End the year after. It was on Broadway proper in 2003. It toured in 2004. There was a West End revival in 2007. A UK tour in 2009, and then an off-Broadway revival in 2019. So, you know, and it's had its interesting, you know, if you look at the casts, you know, initial casts for each of those runs, you know, you see, especially the newer runs, you know, starting in the early aughts, you see some familiar faces that you recognize if you're into musicals. You know, Jonathan Groff, Anthony Rapp, you know, names like that. So, you know, Sheridan Smith at one point, Joey Fatone played Seymour.
Wow.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen that because I cannot picture it. But sure.
Constance Wu played Audrey at one point. So here's one that may throw you for a loop. In the UK tour in 2009, Mr. Mushnik Sylvester McCoy.
Almost see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
It was not the first name that came to my head, but now that you've said it, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And actually off Broadway, it is still running.
Wow.
So since the revival, I mean, obviously it got suspended because of during the pandemic, and it reopened in 2021. But yeah, as of September 26th, so a little over a month ago, Corbin Bleu and Constant Wu are Seymour and Audrey at the moment. So yeah. And then they've had people like Amber Riley, who's on Glee, as the voice of Audrey II. So yeah, it's been so yeah, if you can get to New York to off Broadway at the West Side Theater,
go check it out if you can.
You can go see it. So, but yeah, I mean, when it won the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Musical for the original off-Broadway production. It won the New York Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Musical. So I'm assuming if you're off-Broadway, you're not eligible for a Tony. So
probably not.
Yeah. So the revival, though, it did get nominated for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical. Didn't win, but so yeah. So yeah, I mean, for this kind of quirky, musical about a man-eating plant from outer space. It's done
fueled by
pretty
a total eclipse of the sun.
Yeah, it's done pretty well for itself. So
absolutely.
And if you've never seen it before, do yourself a favor and pop it on. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of spoiled it all, but it's kind of pick your ending. It's okay.
Yep.
But yeah, it's one of my Halloween mainstays.
You're watching it, like, even if you know how it ends. Like, I know how it ends. I know how it ended.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you're watching it for the performances.
Yeah.
And the music.
And the music.
So it's like just watching Steve Martin just absolutely just chew the scenery.
Yes.
And then Bill Murray comes in to almost one up him as the patient that loves pain.
Yeah,
which is like
which takes all the fun out of it for one.
Yes.
And it's just okay, am I still watching Little Shop of Horrors, or am I watching an SNL skit?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Well, and what's funny is from the moment that Bill Murray walks into the exam room, that is all ad-libbed on Bill Murray's part.
Yes.
And then Steve Martin just had to roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they didn't know what he was going to say. Everybody who interacted with him just kind of was so confused as to what he was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that part, it is like, if you ever want to look up the definition of a big-lipped alligator moment, look it up, kids. That's
this
it.
Be it.
This be it. It's that scene.
Yeah.
So, it's just so random.
Murray just took one look at the script, shrugged his shoulders, tossed it in.
There was nothing written. There was nothing written for that, other than they wanted to make sure that he screamed at some point. There was no dialogue written for him for the bit out in the waiting room. Yes, but once he gets in the chair, there was no script for him to follow. They just let him do it because they knew it was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
He just went, and it has no bearing on the story. He doesn't really interact with any of the main characters. He's just there as, hey, this dentist likes causing people pain. Well, what happens when a patient who comes in who actually likes having pain and is like, gets in the dentist chair for fun?
Yeah.
It's a little unsettling, but it's also hilarious.
Yes.
Like, that would never be me.
No.
True.
No.
This is the anti-Rachel.
Yes. He's like, I go to this. Yeah, it's like I go to the dentist on, this one dentist on Sundays. I'm like,
it's just great.
Get a different hobby.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, it still fits with the movie, just even though it really has nothing to do with the main plot.
The character appears. The character appears in the 1960 version, played by a very young Jack Nicholson.
Yes. Which apparently those dentist tools that
are in the Tim Burton Batman used on Jack Nicholson.
Yes. So there's your movie section or something.
Yep.
So yeah, those props have gotten around quite a bit. I think they've been in a couple other horror movies, but the Batman, 89 Batman, definitely there. So yeah, so
bit of trivia you can put in your pocket. Like, how do you connect Little Shop of Horrors to Tim Burton's Batman?
That.
With dental equipment, apparently.
Dental equipment. So check out the movie Little Shop of Horrors. I would if you can get your hands on the Blu-ray, I would recommend it because it's got both versions of the movie. Plus, it has a lot of really good special features, like interviews with Frank Oz. Frank Oz's commentary on the movie.
Oh, nice.
Is really good. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff on it. So if you can get the Blu-ray, do it. But even if like Rachel said, her library only has the one with theatrical, it's still pretty good. Also, if you can get to see the off-Broadway production in New York, that would be awesome. But also support your local theaters, your stage theaters, because and those, depending on where you are, those can range from professional to, your local community people who just do it on a volunteer basis, that kind of thing.
Or even high schools.
Or high schools. Like, high schools, it's usually the parents who show up to those things, but, just even if you don't have a kid in there, go support them anyway, because they do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm just saying,
I've done that. I've gone to local productions that are children, but it's a show I wanted to see. That's how I saw the Addams Family musical.
Oh, there you go.
Like last year, the year before that, because the local high school, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, I think the high school near my library is doing Addams Family next month.
Yeah,
which I'm like, why didn't you do it in October? But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so just keep an eye on whatever local stage theater companies are close to you, and just go see if one of them's doing it. Or you kind of have to watch for it, but it's worth seeing on stage, no matter who's doing it. I think. But yeah, and it's, like I said, it's one of those that I rotate in every Halloween or so, and it's just fun. If you're not into the super graphic, gory Halloween stuff, but you don't want you want something that's kind of in the middle of very much not scary and give you nightmares for days. This is a good happy medium, I think.
The Audrey II puppet is so good that it's like it's creepy.
Yeah, it is.
You'll get the heebie-jeebies just because it's done so well.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't the Jim Henson Company officially doing it, but with as many Henson people that were there, it might as well have been.
Yep.
The influence is definitely there. So anyway, so yes, high marks great Halloween flick, or just a fun movie in general. If you want to scratch that horror movie itch,
Yes.
or if you like good musicals. Anyway, so we recommend it. Go check it out if you can. And if you do check it out, or if you have seen it, or whatever, you've seen the movie or a stage production of it, let us know your thoughts, your opinions of this cult classic by now. In feedback form, if you would send us feedback, we'll read it out on the podcast, and our email address for that is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com. That has links to our social media. It also has our show notes, so you can check out links there as well. Some things we mentioned on here that maybe we couldn't really go into too much detail. You'll get more stuff there. You can also find links to our iTunes, or wherever you can download the podcast. Leave us a review, and our YouTube channel and things like that. And also, if you want to support us, we have a Patreon and a merch shop, which again are linked to on our website. So just go to our website. It's got all the goodies there. And thank you all, but truly, sincerely, we're so grateful for your support, for all of your feedback, your comments, your interactions, listening to us. It's awesome. We love you for it, and we're so glad that you're all out there enjoying what we do. So again, thank you, and we definitely wish you happy Halloween. So be safe however you're celebrating, or even if you're just staying in and with the doors locked and the lights off. However you're doing it, just have a good one.
Yep.
We're going out for a night of frolic.
Yes. All right. So with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Chrissy saying, "Feed me, Seymour," from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening and sticking away from down on Skid Row.
This is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Wait for me, Audrey. This is between me and the vegetable. Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefivishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.